What's up, YouTube family? Today we're going to be doing smoked oysters. This is one of my favorites, and I'm not talking about the oysters that you do at the party or the picnic where you grill them on the half shell, on the grill and all that. I'm talking about shucked oysters. What Nick and I like to do is take shucked oysters. We've made pizza out of them. We'll put them with cheese and crackers, on cheese and crackers. You can go to the store and, believe it or not, smoked shucked oysters. From the place I get our oysters, which is from Lytle's Oyster Shack. If you're up in Washington State, you need to check them out. North Bay, near Ocean Shores. And their smoked oysters that are vacuum packed in the refrigerator are about $10. Not about, they are $10 for 4 ounces. That's like a pack about like this. During my editing, I'll try to put a picture up here of what that kind of 4-ounce pack looks like. So anyway, a 4-ounce pack of vacuum packed smoked oysters ranges from $8 to $10. That's about the average. And I'm not talking about the canned oysters that you get at Walmart. The canned smoked oysters. No. We're not talking about smoked oysters on the half shell on the grill. We're not talking about the canned oysters. We're talking about the shucked oysters that we're going to smoke. What, Nick?
My arms hurt.
Prop it up there. Okay, look. We're talking about...
retry because I got my thumb.
Just don't stop it.
Okay.
We're talking about if you want smoked oysters for like a party, and you want to take a smoked oyster and put it on a piece of cheese on a cracker, or you can put it on the little fancy little dried bread. What are they called, Nick?
Crackers.
Well, it's like a dried little piece of bread.
Oh, you mean like...
I don't know what they're called.
You mean like MREs, for example, right? Like the fancy dry bread you put like cheese and like spray cheese on?
No.
Well, I don't know.
I'm not talking about spray
I don't know what you're talking about.
The little bitty miniature dried...
You can probably ask them on the comments. In the comments.
If you know what we're talking about, leave me a comment. But it's the little pieces of dried French bread, I think. The fancy stuff. You can put like oyster on it and put like goat cheese on it and all that stuff. We're talking about those. I do these about 3 or 4 times a year. And so let's just go with what we buy at Lytle's. Like I said, this is from Lytle's. They're pretty close to here. They're on in North Bay, in Washington State near Ocean Shores. And here's a little pro tip. If you're going to smoke shucked oysters, don't buy the smalls or the mediums or the larges. You want to buy the cuts. The cuts are almost half the price. And why do they call them cuts? Come over here, Nick, and let's look.
Hopefully it's not too zoomed in.
So we got this half gallon. This is what I buy. It's a half gallon for $25.99. On average, when I do this, we get about 45 to 50 oysters. And like I said, these are fresh shucked. You can't get any fresher than these. So we're going to look through here. And like I said, you're going to get different sizes. You're going to get smalls. You're going to get mediums. But they sell these as cuts. And what that means is when they were shucking the oyster, it did not come out perfect. So they can't sell it as a perfect oyster. I mean, some of these are perfect, believe it or not. We'll keep going through here and see. We'll find some that have a little cut in them, like this one here, see? That one right there. It's still a good oyster. I mean, we're talking about shucking. you know, we're just going to smoke some oysters. So this is an oyster here that's gotten cut. And I mean, literally, sometimes, believe it or not, we have some ice in here, I think.
I explained to them what shucking's called.
Shucking, that's when you open the shell
Huh.
and you remove the oyster from the shell.
Chucking or shucking?
Okay, shucking. S-H-U-C-K-I-N-G. So here we go. It's a perfect example. Normally your oyster is going to be like this. But you can see this little divot here when they were shucking the oyster. They got this little divot, so then they don't want to sell that. It's a perfect oyster. But when we smoke it, it's going to shrink up. And like I said, these are almost half price. See if we can find one more good example in here. See, look. You have an oyster here with a string on it. A little divot right here where it got messed up during the shucking process. Little divot here, but once we smoke that, this oyster is going to shrink up, and you're not even going to know. So don't go out and buy, this is a half gallon. Don't go out and buy a half gallon of smalls or mediums or whatever. Buy some cuts. That's what they call it. Go into your local seafood market. Hey, do you sell cuts? Oyster cuts, that's what it's called. So the first thing we're going to do is, like I said, we average about 45 to 50. What I like to do, because we're going to brine this, we're going to take these oysters out like that. I'm going to let this drain. I like to save some of this, I don't know what you call it, oyster juice, oyster stock.
And make brine out of it?
You can use this juice here. You can get a good picture of it for like oyster soup or, you know, a stock or whatever. We're going to let this drain just a little bit, and then we're going to wash these off under the sink. So we're going to continue to let this drain, and what we're going to do right now, we're going to make a brine. And you're going to brine it. I like to brine mine like 24 hours at least. And so let's get on to the brine. We're going to, what we're going to do is wash our oysters off. If you're up in Washington, they call them washing oysters. Washington State. Depends on where you're at. We're going to wash these off. We tried to drain them. You can see there's, I don't want to call it slime, but what we're going to do here, I'm going to wash these off real good. I don't want to call it slime, but it really is kind of slime. I'm going to wash these off real good here, or wash them off is what some people call them. Now, while that is draining, we're going to work on our brine. So I have to put some gloves on here, which is probably going to be next to impossible because I don't want to contaminate everything here. Since Rebecca has a seafood allergy, so let's get some gloves. I'm happy, y'all. I finally found some freaking latex gloves. Vinyl gloves. In our little podunk part of the U.S., I found some freaking cheap-ass latex gloves. You're lucky if you get them on, they don't break. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make our brine.
It's those who take more than what they need.
Alright. here we go. Now, we're going to do 1/2 quart of filtered water, distilled water, filtered water. One-eighth a cup of kosher salt. I know you don't have 1/8 a cup when you're measuring cup here, so we're just going to kind of wing it. Just remember, 1/8 is between 1/4 and nothing. So, I mean, nothing's perfect in cooking. It might be close. 1/8 is between 1/4 and nothing. Six ounces, 3 cups. I do 3 cups. I can't find my can opener, so we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way here. It's like opening an old V8 can. You make that V there. You got your little pour spout. Make sure you open your drain hole here. Your, not drain hole, air hole. Because as that pours, it's going to suck in air. So we're going to do 3 cups of pineapple juice. And don't go out and buy expensive freaking pineapple juice, organic stuff. I mean, come on. Three cups. Ooh, that smells good. Like I said, you can use vermouth, you can use white wine, equal amounts of what I'm using here. I prefer pineapple juice. We're going to stir this up real good in this.
That's good. What do you think it'll taste like, Dad?
Oh, it'll be great. You've had them before.
No, I haven't. I don't think so.
Nick, how many times have I done smoked oysters?
I don't remember.
Dude, this is the next day. It's been marinating, not quite 24 hours. So this is kind of an important point I need to make. Most people, if these were small oysters, I would take them out, drain them, wash them off. You want to wash that brine off, otherwise they will be really salty. And then you can just stick it straight on the smoker. But since these are the bigger oysters, I mean, some of these are jumbos, and what I do is I parboil them for 2 to 3 minutes, believe it or not, in boiling water. I mean, some of these are just really big. And we're going to go back and trim these up before we smoke them. So I'm going to go ahead and drain these now in the sink. I don't really need to wash them off because we're going to be, like I said, we're going to be putting them in boiling water for a few minutes, and that'll do its job washing everything off. I just want to go through here and get all this pockets of liquid out of here. But like I said, if you're doing smalls, just rinse them off at this point. You can put them straight on your smoker. Is it on? I'm not doing that yet.
Okay.
What that's going to do, these are really ice cold because my fridge is like 34 degrees, so I'm going to actually parboil it for about 3 minutes, and that'll firm them up, and you'll see the final result. A lot of people right now are probably going, what? You parboil them? Yes, and I'll show you why. Because some of these are really big. And that'll firm them up, and then we'll get ready to smoke them. Rebecca has shellfish allergies, so any cooking shellfish I have to do outside. So we got our oysters here. We're gonna drop these in. Set our timer we got our timer for 3 minutes.
Don't put my password in there. I already set the timer for 3 minutes.
Oh, you did? Well,
yeah.
It's at 2:32 right now.
That's hot, Dad.
2:32. Give an extra 30 seconds. All right, we are ready. We're gonna go ahead, and what we want to do is drain these and put them in ice cold water to keep it from cooking any longer. I will say, y'all, I have had better quality cuts than these. I'm not going to say these are the worst, but we still ended up with about 50 oysters. And got them in the smoker, shooting for 225, going to smoke for an hour. Can take up to 2 hours. Up to 2 hours to be completely done. We'll periodically check on them. Alrighty, folks, we're at the 1 hour mark now. Still got a little ways to go, but we got our nice little golden color on it, and we've pulled our smoke. And I'm using applewood, but just so you know, any mild wood will work, and also alderwood is a favorite up here. There we are, folks. You'll have to forgive me for my plating skill. I'm just a rookie. That's some smoked Swiss cheese, some medium cheddar, and of course our smoked oysters. If our phone will focus on this. So let's see what Nick thinks about it.
It's time for me to take it away. I'm choosing this one. If I can grab this without messing it up. Not bad. Pretty good, in fact.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, like I said, it was pretty difficult this last time. I get some pretty good cuts. These were not quite as good as I would like, but as you can see, they turned out pretty perfect, if I have to say so myself. So I made about $100 worth of smoked oysters for 30 bucks.
Okay, I'm on.
So, got anything to say, Nick?
Delicious. Dad is the best cook in the world. Anyway, make sure to like, subscribe.
You got something on your lip.
Of course. Make sure to like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell down below. As always, see ya, Space Cowboy.
Okay, dude.